Back in my sophomore year at a ritzy Connecticut school district, I was in the chorus, a tight-knit group that got to go on optional field trips every year. That November, we piled onto a bus bound for Woodloch Pines Resort in Pennsylvania, a few hours' ride with my buddy Ethan by my side. We'd be roomies for the 3-day trip, and when we rolled up to the quiet, chilly resort, we figured it'd be a snooze. Off-season vibes, you know. 4 chaperones tagged along, but they were hands off, just checking in on our plans. Day 1 was a blast. Ethan, me, and 2 girlfriends, Mia and Sophie, tore through go-karts, scaled the rock wall, splashed in the pool, and stuffed ourselves at dinner. Our ground floor room had a sliding glass door facing a lake, and that night we left the blinds open, mesmerized by the moon's silver glow rippling on the water. Big mistake. Around 11 p.m., we were sprawled on our beds, restless, chatting nonsense, when Ethan, whose bed hugged the door, let out a scream that jolted me upright. My eyes snapped to the glass, and there she was. A tall, skeletal old woman, gray hair spilling wild, her hands pressed against the door, cupping her face like she was peering into our souls. My heart slammed against my ribs. It was straight out of a horror flick. She vanished into the night, and we bolted outside, adrenaline pumping, but the cement path was empty. No trace of her on the grass or the hill. We both saw her. No hallucination here. Next day, we kept it from the chaperones, but spilled it to Mia and Sophie. Night 2, we locked the blinds tight, but sleep didn't come easy. I woke to an eerie stillness, a gnawing dread I couldn't shake. I whispered Ethan's name. No answer. Then I turned, and she was there, towering over my bed, her voice raspy. Your back door was unlocked. She shuffled out before I could scream. I shook Ethan awake, and we barricaded the door, blinds down, eyes wide till dawn. At breakfast, we spotted her through a neighboring room's glass, sitting stiff, hands folded, staring right at us. We sprinted to the front desk, dragging staff to confront her. She sat there with an old man, both off, like they didn't belong at a family resort. The staff mumbled about mental issues, but wouldn't kick them out. Our chaperones fought with management, and finally, the trip got axed early. Ethan and I just wanted out, away from her hollow gaze and whatever she'd planned in the dark. Fourth grade, a cloudy day with spits of rain. My class took a field trip to a small rural zoo an hour from school. It was kid-friendly, little habitats with rabbits and deer, nothing wild, and had a big building stuffed with taxidermy and odd exhibits. I was a weird kid back then, quiet, prone to wandering off, something my mom and teachers always noticed. While the group toured the building, I slipped into a bathroom without a word, did my thing, and stepped back into an empty hallway. Curiosity tugged me down an unexplored corridor, dim lights flickering, scarlet carpets muffling my steps, dead animals staring from glass cases. My 8-year-old brain buzzed with wild stories until I froze. A man was crouched behind a stack of chairs, peeking out. I giggled, thinking it was a game, but he stood, walked over, and asked where my group went. I don't know, I mumbled. He grabbed my hand, firm, not friendly, and said, "Follow me." I figured he'd take me back, but he yanked me toward an exit, out to a grim back lot, dumpsters, benches, and a wall of woods. His grip tightened, his pace quickened, dragging me toward the trees. Fear churned in my gut, sour and heavy, like I might puke, but I didn't scream. Just stumbled along, too stunned to fight. Then a teacher's piercing yell, "Mrs. Carter," shattered the air from behind a fence. He dropped my arm and bolted into the woods. Moments later, my teacher swarmed me, hugging, scolding, a frantic blur. They called my parents, the cops came, and the trip ended right there. As our bus pulled away, I spotted him, crouching in the trees, eyes locked on us through the branches. I didn't say a word, too shy or shaken to tell. The other kids stared at me the whole ride home, but I didn't care. I just hope he never got another chance to grab a kid like me. In high school, I took this mysteries and mythology class, real-life creepy stuff I was obsessed with, alongside my friend Jake. Our teacher hauled us on a field trip to an abandoned village nearby, built in the early 1900s and ditched fast for reasons no one knew. The 20-minute bus ride had us glued to the windows, peering down a crumbling road sliced through thick forest. We stepped out onto cracked pavement sprouting grass, surrounded by towering brick buildings, boarded windows, peeling walls, oozing dread. The plan: use our class skills to guess why the place emptied out. Holes gaped in walls and basements, creepy invitations to explore. One building loomed tallest, pulling me in, and Jake and I ditched the group, teacher droning toward a church, to check it out. By the back door, sealed tight, a hole in the ground revealed a ladder dropping to a concrete pit. We grinned, adrenaline buzzing, and climbed down, iPhone flashlights cutting through the gloom. Beer bottles littered the floor, graffiti scarred a wall, dusty planks creaked underfoot. A wooden staircase stretched up into pitch black. Every window above was sealed. I led, each step groaning like it'd snap, Jake close behind. The upper floor was a maze of tight rooms branching into darkness. It hit us then. We'd gone too far. We agreed to bail, but a thud, like a rock on concrete, echoed from a side room. Normal kids would have bolted. We froze, locked eyes, then crept toward it, lights trembling in our hands. We peeked in and ran. Down the stairs, up the ladder, lungs burning, back to the group. A classmate, Ryan, asked why we were panting. We whispered. 3 guys, standing 10 feet away in that room, facing us in a silent, eerie triangle, like they'd been waiting. We didn't tell the teacher, scared of trouble. Trailing the group, we kept glancing at that building. Before we left, a face appeared at an unboarded upper window, staring down. Homeless squatters? Gang hideout? Jake swears they were ghosts of the village's lost souls. I can still see them. Motionless, eyes boring into us the second we looked. It's burned into my brain. One day, I might go back, just to prove Jake wrong, or face whatever's still lurking there.